I'm going to continue with this. This guy's annoying me a bit.
I love it. It's really great. I mean, in Gene Keys, as I said, like we have, because people are interested, they can get the Gene Keys book. It's a big, huge book. It took me 7 years to write, with all where I go through the 64 archetypes, right? And there are 64 siddhis, right? And that's a Sanskrit word, siddhi, right? And it means transcendent, reality, and they are embedded in our body, right? So we have superpowers in here, right? And there are 64 of them, right?
Back in 2022, I lost two very
More adverts again.
big figures. It really wasn't until February of
And you'll have certain ones that are just dormant, and you might in your life, if you are lucky, if you believe in luck, you might have a flash of one that just goes off. One of these little places inside your DNA just sparks, and then you have a sense of, wow, it might be a burst of universal cosmic love, unconditional love, or something like that just happens. It might, that just brings you to tears. It might be a complete silence where all thoughts cease spontaneously. There are lots of different layers to the cities, to these, but they're built into us. So they are, you're right, there is a way that we can access the mainframe, and it is inside us, and it's part of it's the journey of the Gene Keys. It's really for the future, the Gene Keys, the knowledge. Because
So I needed to just show that to explain why I don't like this guy, because yesterday I watched the whole video and I was just left feeling a huge amount of anger, but I also felt a huge amount of confusion because I didn't really know how to. I wanted to express my facial expressions over how I was just feeling like, oh, what the fuck is this guy? Like, some of the things he says are more true, and some of the, I've just been playing random things on these videos, so some of them I might be like quite insulting, and you might think, well, that's not actually that insulting, but yeah, some of the things that he says are things like that. So he believes that there's 64 cities on a book that he wrote. He's written a book for 7 years about different cities that are different archetypes that live inside of you, and they're all like different superpowers that you have. And by reading his book and becoming whatever he believes in, or whatever, believing in him, they can spark, you can have an outburst of love, and then just spark this it's inside your gene pool. He's trying to turn himself into a messiah, and I don't like that. The majority of it is trying to not be. It's just like me helping you. He just said before I played that, I didn't show it, but how he just feels good about helping people. It's all about him helping people. It's not about him trying to become God and trying to believe rubbish and teach people rubbish about how he knows about what the higher consciousness is like. I am God, and yet I don't think I have a very high consciousness, because I don't have a high awareness, because I don't know what people are thinking. I don't know people. I don't know why people have done what they've done. I'm in some sort of trap, some sort of bubble, and I have a very low awareness of things because people are not telling me things. I know things by people teaching me things or telling me things, so I can learn through what they say. And to think that you can just get this knowing because it's just coded inside your DNA, and you just need to spark this knowingness, I don't like this teaching, and I don't know why, but this guy is just bringing anger out of me, and I'm even starting to hate the presenter of it. Usually I really like the presenter, but in this, the presenter is winding me up. The presenter's my spy, so he's very good at kind of looking like he supports the person who's talking. But right now I feel like he's being too good at being convincing. I think he should have just stayed quiet. I think this was done before I found him. But yeah, I think he should have just stayed quiet throughout this interview, because in this video he's showing too much support towards this crazy person, and that's what I'm seeing. All I'm seeing is a crazy man who thinks that he's a messiah, and he believes that he's got some sort of messiah complex about how he knows what all the choices that people are going to make, and therefore from this higher level perspective, I could see all the patterns, and I could see that everyone is just have no choice, because they're all making patterns. But when you come down, you are not aware of this. But yeah, he's trying to make himself into turning himself into a messiah by believing this, and it's annoying me. You know, I just really want to talk to people. I want to actually talk to people, and I'm not going to be boasting about how my consciousness is much higher. No, my consciousness is, or the higher me that is creating songs and stuff is just making songs about raping me. I mean, how the fuck would I don't even support any of that, so I don't even know what my higher self is doing. You know, like my consciousness is actually very, very unaware, but I feel like it's getting more and more aware. But I feel like the only way to make it more aware is just to hate everyone, because I can't understand why people would promote such shit, why there's so many morons that would watch this and be like, wow, there's 64 cities inside of me and I just need to enlighten that, and then I could get all these superpowers. And I just, what are people thinking? Are people real? Are people just brainwashed, mindless zombies that would watch things like that? I don't know, but this guy's really pissing me off.
It's to take us into the next stage of our evolution, where these dormant kind of superpowers can start to come online, and we start to inhabit that universal body, that universal mind. You know, because there's a new kind of human coming, and we need, you know, and this is going to require a mutation of us, inside us, in our DNA, in our species wide. I mean, it sounds quite wild, but it has happened in the past that we've mutated. You know, we were Neanderthal, then it mutated, it became a Cro-Magnon. We've mutated, and animals mutate all the time.
All the
so
time.
Life is built.
All
DNA
the time.
Is built to mutate.
All the time.
And to change and to evolve. So what my question with the Gene Keys is, what's the next human being look like? What's the future human being look like? And that's definitely written in my book.
I think this is what annoys me, is that he talks about like the new human, the new species, but he just leaves me out of everything, and it's really hard to know that he's trying to be me rather than trying to he's not including me. I've heard a lot of people actually on this channel talk about, you know, this stage of how Homo sapiens were formed from Neanderthals. You know, all the Neanderthals were wiped out, and Homo sapiens became, you know, the new thing, and we're just going through another process like that. But both times I was the one that did that. I was the one that did that change, and it's making me feel horrible to feel like no one knows anything about me, and they're just acting like this new human has got nothing to do with me, and it's all about people just waking up to the truth, and it's just making me feel like, well, what about me? Why are you not including me? And it's 12 years that I've been ignored, and it's, or 11 and a half, and it kind of pains me to feel like there's so many people that think that they can move into this next stage without me, and there's so many people that I want a response. You know, I'm not just that. If I was living in a nice house with a bunch of people that believed me and supported me, and then I listened to this, I would think nothing of it. But because I'm just in a bedroom by myself, basically miserable and upset and despising humans, and then I've got all these other humans being like, oh, we're only here to help, we're doing everything, we help, it's all about love, and then just with the new, it's like the world wants to evolve on without me, and doesn't want to include me, and then just starts making up shit about how there's 64 cities in you, which are like different archetypes that you have to embed, and you just need to listen and follow this guy and you'll get there, and he's just trying to be the Messiah, and why is he trying to be the Messiah? I don't know what to do.
Definitely written. You know, you're invited to contemplate that. What does the highest you look like? So when you look at your profile, you'll see the shadow words, but you'll also see these city words. You'll see words like ecstasy. You'll see words like, you know, rebirth. You'll see words like harmony. These are states of consciousness that are embedded inside you as a living potential.
It's not embedded in you.
Like
you have to
live only in harmony. everything in your life in
Create
harmony.
it.
Well, obviously, Marvel has already told us what the next stage of evolution is, and it's the X-Men, obviously.
Do you like the X-Men?
I'll take Wolverine's powers. I don't know what you would like, but it's really
I kinda like
fascinating.
that lucky one, you know?
Oh yeah, okay. What's her name? Domino. Yeah, Domino. She's always
I
lucky.
love that.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. I could do this in the Tonight Show, and the second he said that,
And I found that there is a tradition in India of 64 cities. And I was like, wow, isn't that cool? You know, that they track this, you know, for thousands and thousands of years. They knew that this matrix was hidden inside us, you know. So those X-Men, all of that. That's
Matrix
kind
hidden
of,
inside us.
in a
No,
way,
you're hidden inside the
preparing our
Matrix. You're getting
minds
things wrongwards,
what's to come.
backwards.
if you're enjoying this conversation, I invite you to go deeper down the over the last. We've grew more in the last 150 years than we grew in the last 3,000 or 5,000. You know, really. So there's a ramping up of this mutation in our consciousness, if you will. But when you just said, like, these movies, these ideas, these stories are preparing us for what's coming, I would 110% agree with you, because if you start thinking about H.G. Wells, and you saw before him, there was no idea, the science fiction world, or Star Trek, like, it's rampant. They understand what the multiverse is. That was really geeky sci-fi stuff back in the day.
Absolutely. I mean, I was watching this thing on Netflix, Sense8. I don't know if you've seen that. It's kind
Yeah. Oh yeah, I
but
remember
that's
that.
like
Great.
networked intelligence, right? And that's the next stage of the future human, is networked intelligence. You know, so that we begin. That's the next phase. We're at the quantum level, where these different fractal groupings come together and discover a genius that is shared, you know, at another level of consciousness. Because the ultimate one is when we're all a networked intelligence. We're all one network, which we are. But it's going to take us a little while to get there, so it's going to begin with smaller groupings, and then it will expand. And that's, I described this in Gene Key 55.
This bit is actually quite truthful.
Gene Key that came and contains the prophecy at the heart of Gene Keys, you know, which is about this future human.
If you want to know what I'm actually thinking, why I'm frowning, he thinks he's that human. That's the thing. He thinks that the heart of Jinkies. He keeps talking about. If you look at the heart of Jinkies, you know, this is something that's obviously fact, and really, isn't that the thing that he's talking about in the fact of the book that he's written, in the heart of Jinkies? And he has said in this video that he thought that he was the Messiah at one point. So at 20, he had an epiphany where he thought that he was the Messiah, and he's talking about this net group of thing, but he's relating it to himself. Really, that's why I'm frowning, because it feels like it's him who's doing this, and I'm the one who's gone through a huge amount of suffering, and I'm the one who's in a huge amount of blindness, because no one's telling me what they're doing or why they're doing it, or contacting me. And yeah, Alex, who's presenting this, I usually really like him, but I don't like him in this, because I feel like he's trying to blend and agree with him too much, but at the back of my mind I'm feeling like this guy actually sees himself as being the Messiah, and I don't like this guy very much. You know, I would like him if I spoke to him and I said, I'm God, I'm this network person that you're referring to, the one that this can live inside people and hidden inside you. I'm not 64 cities, I'm one city who lives inside you, and somehow what you're doing and you believe is things that I've experienced, and you're just getting a kind of echo, but you're relating it to yourself rather than to me. You know, how would he respond to that? How would he respond? Would he believe, or would he deny it? I'm pissed off because I don't know who's on my side and who's not, and I want to create a new species, but I want to create it based on who is able to believe me, and who is rather just wanting to follow lies and believe all sorts of nonsense from other people. And I really, really want this answer, because then I can have an idea of how many humans I can raise. I feel like there's loads and loads of people that are rejecting it and will reject it because I cannot raise them, and I want to know the future. And there's plenty of houses here, but are there too many, considering how many people are going to reject my truth and just want to seek after the fractal universe or whatever, and believe whatever they want based on films that they've seen and stuff.
And so it's fun.
Now you know who wrote Sense. You know who the creators of Sense8 is, right?
Yeah, it's a woman, right?
No, it's the
Wachowskis.
The Wachowskis.
I was
It's the
thinking
Wachowskis.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Wachowskis are,
Matrix.
for everybody who doesn't know, the creators of The Matrix.
Matrix.
So
I have no idea
which is also one
who
of the
created
most
these films.
profound
Yeah.
films that have prepared us for the idea of simulation theory, that this is all a game. Before then, it was deep in philosophical ideas or
This is
Vedic
true, we're living in a
traditions, or even
matrix,
deep in
but-
the quantum physics world. But now everyone understands, like, oh, yeah,
The question is, though, if we're living in a matrix and lots of people know, how come there's still paralyzed people that are living in bodies that aren't working? You know, I saw a thing about Elon Musk yesterday about how he's putting brain... I don't know if that works. I have no clue. You know, I would have said that it shouldn't, that doesn't work. I mean, how can you control a mouse or control a computer using your brain? Because how would the chip be able to recognize what means what? Like if you want the mouse to go from right to left, how would the brain work out what you're actually thinking? You know, I don't believe that it's possible. But then again, I also didn't think that ChatGPT was possible, and when I was 6, I probably didn't believe that the internet was possible either. So, you know, I can't say what's true and what's not, but I know that I don't know much about technology, and I don't know what people know. But it's, yeah. What was this I was just talking about? I've forgotten.
and wasn't it just a year or two ago that the Nobel Prize went to some quantum physicists who proved that we are in a simulation
I think
mathematically?
So. There's a lot of it. Yeah. Now it's an incredible thing, and the Buddhists have been saying.
I'm pretty sure I proved that we were in a
the
simulation
high
like 13
Buddhist
years ago.
teachings, that's exactly what they teach.
Or 11 years ago.
Maya. It's like Maya.
Yeah. Even Christ, said, in my Father's house has many mansions. I love that quote, which is like all these different dimensions, that exist.
Of course.
That's such a beautiful quote. It is such a beautiful quote.
Yes, if you say my Father lives in many mansions, that obviously means that God the Father lives in many different fractals of different timelines and stuff. No, can't it just mean there's lots of mansions? There's lots of mansions on Earth right now. Yeah, that's an example of taking a quote that has some truth to it and then just assuming that it means something completely different. There's many mansions in God the Father's house. That obviously means that God the Father is real and a real God, and that obviously means that these houses represent different timelines, when no, that doesn't necessarily mean the truth. I mean, that's what he's doing. He's taking things that are truth, and then he's changing it and leaving me out, and I don't like feeling left out, which is how I'm feeling, which is why I'm feeling angry.
And then jumping into parallel realities and how we can. There's quantum jumping now. I mean, we could go down so many different roads, Richard. So where we are right now, where do you see us going in the next 20 years, 50 years, your lifetime, my lifetime? What do you see humanity doing? Because we're moving at such a clip. I mean, from the birth of the internet was little over 25 years ago, really, with broadband. I mean, the real, like the popular birth of the internet, mid 90s. So mid to early 90s. So it's been 25, 30 years. And look how far, I mean, we've got AI now. Where do you see this going in the next 50 years?
I think you should just ask the question and then move on, because these videos are about insulting people.
Everyone else, but I kind of saw this back in my heightened state of consciousness. I kind of wanted to know why this time, why now, why me seeing this, and it was framed in the context of this time. And sometimes when you look at the future, you assume it's going to be based on the patterns of the past. That's a natural thing to do. So
because
you
that's
kind of
the
look
truth.
at this, you go AI, and then we're going to get to Mars, and then we're going to do this, and you kind of, that's how the mind thinks in a linear form. But during times of mutation, linearity breaks down. It has to. So there has to be, in order for a quantum leap to occur, like a new mutation in human DNA, it requires a huge shock, actually. It requires
me.
a massive, it requires very,
it requires
very
me.
conditions.
Christ.
In order, and a lot of heat, and a lot of,
No, it doesn't require
some kind
heat.
of trauma, in order for that to.
Well, I've gone through a lot of trauma.
That shift to occur.
But
it's like
that's
birth,
not a good
right?
thing.
Birth is not an easy thing. and I'm a man, so I have no idea. But I can I've delivered my own child, and so I have a sense of.
You're front row seat, sir. You have front
Seeing
row
someone
seat.
else do it.
Thank you. But so birth is not easy, and so what I envisage happening is a kind of, not that we're going to go off on this nice trajectory, but that actually what's happening now to the planet is, with all the systems beginning to break down and collapse, and and the ecosystems also beginning to give way, that we're going to kind of hit a crisis, and as a species, and it's not going to be nice and comfortable, but we'll move through it, and we will come out the other side, and we'll come out the other side completely different. And many, I don't know what it
I
looks
hope
like,
so.
but I imagine we'll bring
Because
some
I
of our
hate
technology
humans.
with us. But I think a lot of it is going to be slightly back to kind of simplicity, because when things start to really sort of fall apart, because we've built a world that is not sustainable, and our practices are
That's
not
the truth.
sustainable. And despite our best efforts of kind of heroic people, it's still, the mass consciousness doesn't have enough intelligence
To understand
actually,
me.
I would say, to kind of make a kind of a fix, put it like that.
There's too many
because
people
we
here.
have to go through these changes.
Humans don't
So
understand
we have
that.
to go through these crises, these births, and I think that's what's coming for us. But through the gene keys, and especially gene key 55, which I describe a lot in my work and in the book, you get a focus on what's the other side look like, and it's really important to have that hope, more than hope, that certainty that this is meant to be this way for a reason, even though it's not going to be easy.
See, there's truth in that.
We're going to come out the other side completely different, and that's why in Gene Keys my symbol is the dragonfly, and I talk about the story of the dragonfly and how a dragonfly is a bit similar to the.
I watched a superhero movie yesterday, and that was about a dragonfly. The Spider-Man was actually a dragonfly character.
Underwater for 2 or 3 years, where it's a predator.
Don't know if that means anything.
And then it kind of comes up, suddenly it comes up a stalk of grass out into the light, and it starts to mutate and change, and within the space of 2 or 3 hours it's become a beautiful iridescent creature of the air. And that is like an extreme, and it happens really fast, and that's a beautiful allegory of what's inside us. We have a dragon inside our genome. We have an incredible, iridescent, multi-dimensional, higher being hidden inside us.
That's me.
But it's got to go through this process of leaving its old environment, where it's predatorial, and it's got to take this
Full
huge
of
risk and
humans.
come up into the air and into the light, and then it's going to it's going to shake its old life off, and something completely of another dimension is going to emerge.
It's the same planet,
And
I think.
So it's hard for us to imagine that, the vastness of the change. But that is what I kind of feel we're heading towards.
I do too,
And
but you just think
I don't know
you're
about
ignoring
you, but I
me.
think the greatest moments of growth for me in my life have been the most difficult. Those are the ones when you're
I'm going to stop there. This video 24 minutes long, but yeah, I just think he's annoying me because he's bringing up lots of truth and he's connecting to a lot of truth. But on the other hand, he's also mixing it with a messiah complex of his own, and his belief that, and the fact that they're not talking to me, the fact that I can't just get on this show and just be like, hi, I'm this person you're talking about, and what do you think of me? I know so much, but I know so little at the same time, and it's horrible.